everybody! Welcome to my YouTube channel. This is my first ever video on this channel, so it's so exciting. I want to introduce myself real quick, and then I want to talk a little bit about today's topic around tech layoffs, and then specifically my own experiences around it. So, my name is Linda. I've been in the Bay Area for about almost a decade. And I worked in big tech companies, including Apple and Meta, and I work as a product manager. So I want to talk a little bit about the tech industry in general. I think the tech industry right now is going through some really challenging times because of the economic conditions. We're hearing unprecedented number of layoffs from Google, from Meta, from Amazon, from Microsoft, tens and tens of thousands of people getting laid off. And my heart goes out to those that are on H-1B because they need to find a job within a certain amount of time. Otherwise, they have to go back to their country. So it's especially stressful and pressure-filled for them. So now I want to talk specifically around my own experiences at Meta, and kind of the events leading up to it, to the layoffs, as well as kind of the events after the layoffs. I want to preface though that this is just my own personal experience. Everyone experiences layoffs differently. Everyone has their own unique situations. So, just wanted to make sure that people keep that in mind, is that, while it's my experience, someone else may have a different experience and their experience is equally valid. So kind of to talk a little bit about, my time at Meta. I was at Meta for about almost 4 years. So spent a good chunk of time there, and I think that Meta is probably one of the best companies I worked at because the culture was so close to the values that I held deeply for me. So it was a really good personality fit for what I wanted to get out of my career. The people there were some of the best and brightest I've ever worked with. They were very supportive, very empathetic. And these are people that I, even after leaving Meta, are my lifelong friends. And so, I would say that my time overall at Meta was great. I was a high performer there, was promoted twice, never always had exceeded or greatly exceeded expectations, and also did my career transition into product management from program management at Meta as well. So a lot had happened when I was at Meta. And so I kind of want to circle back into maybe October, November of 2022. That was when I think, there was a lot of reports and rumors going around layoffs. We weren't hearing anything internally, so we just really had no idea what was going on. And it wasn't until probably the Sunday before the Wednesday layoffs where there was a Wall Street Journal article that came out really detailing exactly what was going to go down at Meta in terms of, how they were going to lay people off. So in a news article, it talked about how, everyone in the company would get an email at 3 a.m. in the morning letting them know about the layoffs. And a few hours later, 5 or 6 a.m., everyone would get an email again on whether or not they were impacted or affected by the layoffs or not. And so I remember Sunday, Monday, Tuesdays, they were really hard to focus at work. I tried to do the best as I could, but needless to say, I didn't get much sleep during those few days. And I remember Tuesday I was actually working and until probably 10 p.m. Getting out one of review summaries and posting it internally for work. And I remember feeling and wondering whether or not that was going to be the last piece of work that I did. And so I tried to get some sleep, wasn't able to sleep as much. I don't think I fell asleep that night, actually. I think I probably was in bed and stayed in bed until 3 a.m. And so I opened my laptop at 3 a.m. and, saw the email from the company saying that there was going to be mass layoffs of 10K people. And I then waited a couple hours and was kind of messaging, Meta mates that were also up as well, and talking about, the things that were going to go down. And I remember my heart sank when I got the email on my personal email around, my job status. And, I think my heart sank because I knew that if the email was sent to my personal email, then I was impacted. And if it was sent to only my work email, then chances were good that I wasn't impacted. So I read the email, my personal email, my heart sank because I knew I was impacted. And so I guess for me, I was still really quite numb. Messaged my teammates. I didn't know how much time or how much more time I had to have access to sort of the internal chats before I guess my access was cut off. They did tell us that we had access to email until 5 p.m., but no one at Meta really uses email. So I tried to get out as many, goodbyes as I could. And traditionally at Meta, when people leave the company, we put out what's called a badge post. So what this is really a goodbye post where we take a photo of our badge and then say our goodbyes or say our thanks, or even just words of wisdom that we wanted to impart to the company. And so I didn't really get a chance to do that, but I was able to put out a quick, contact information, of my LinkedIn as well as and my email if anyone wanted to get in contact with me, and got to kind of send out the last, few goodbyes to my teammates before my access was cut off. And then by then, for the next 5 or 6 hours, I was on LinkedIn and also messaging my coworkers, my teammates on my personal phone to see who else was impacted. Because access was cut off really quick, we didn't really know what was going on or who else was also impacted. And so so that was sort of my first 5-6 hours. There was also support groups and support and resources that were spun up for those that were impacted. And so this is one of the reasons I love kind of the culture of Meta so much, is because everyone, all of my teammates, everyone that worked at Meta was very, very good people to work with. They were supportive, they were empathetic, and they just genuinely wanted to help each other out. And so a Discord channel was spun up for those that were impacted, and as well as Facebook groups. And so I tried to utilize that as much as I could, because there was a lot of questions around, how do we send back our equipment, benefits, severance. And so there was just a lot of chaos. We just didn't really know what was going on. Personally, how I was feeling, I think I was, honestly, I was just really tired. I was quite burnt out. Even though I loved my time at Meta, I worked really, really hard there as well. I was working consistently over the last 3 or 4 years, probably 12 to 14, 15 hours every day. I made a point to not work on Saturday. But most Sundays I also did work just to catch up on the things I want to do to get ready for Monday. I would say that, it's not... It was mainly I wanted to work hard and get as much done as possible, not anything around my managers. They were all great. I would say that consistently my feedback and performance reviews was mainly just to not burn myself out, but for me, I get a lot of joy and satisfaction when I put out good work. And so that's something that I had to kind of rein myself in, as well as my managers had to rein me in as well. So yeah, during that time, I had gone through layoffs in the past, and knew that either way, those that survived the first round, those that got cut, it's not great, right? People that got cut are now trying to figure out, okay, what do I do? How do I, save? How do I live? Like, how do I get another job? Those are the thoughts that are going in their mind. And then those that were left behind and survived the layoffs are going through survival guilt. They are wondering whether or not they're next. Their job is feeling insecure. They're feeling insecure. So it's not a great, time to be on either side. And so the next week and a half or so, I had an outpouring support, people reaching out, asking if I was okay, asking if they could help, and I appreciated that a lot. And so so that was the next week and a half, was just responding to those messages and kind of catching up with my old coworkers, both at Meta as well as in my previous companies. And the day of layoffs, I also put out a LinkedIn post letting people know, letting my network know that I was laid off. But I don't think that I was really ready right away to search for another job. I was, like I said earlier before, I'm quite burnt out and I wanted time to just decompress. So during that time, I think there were kind of two groups of people. First are folks that had to get a job as soon as possible. Either they were on H-1B or they were the single breadwinner of their family and had kids and didn't want to lose out on income. So they were the ones that were, right the day of layoffs, they were already kind of going into job hunting mode and trying to find their next role and their next opportunity. And then the flip side is, the other group are those that, kind of want to take a break in between jobs, didn't want a job hunt right away. They might have wanted to travel or spend time with their friends and family before diving into job hunting. I would say that I would be in more of this latter category. I wasn't on H-1B. I don't have family and kids and dependents to support. I did have some savings, but, Bay Area is also really expensive, and I also had personal goals around, wanting to save up for a down payment, being able to afford mortgages and things like that. So I knew that I didn't want to, jump straight into getting another job and working right away, but I was cognizant about, my finances and just wanting to make sure that I could weather this economic storm for, who knows how long. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. In my next video, I'll talk a little bit about how I navigated my time after the layoffs, what I ended up doing, how I approached interview prep, job hunting, and all of that. If you like this video, please like it. If you dislike it, please click the dislike button. And as always, please add comments how I can improve and make my future videos better. And also, please subscribe so you don't miss my next video. Thank you guys again for watching. See you in the next one.